thanks for tuning to Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be reviewing Water Moon, and luckily this was the May book club pick for my book club, Read with Sin's Workshop, and it was phenomenal. Oh my god, it was so beautiful. I would preface all of this by saying if you love Studio Ghibli, you need to read this book, especially Spirited Away. If Spirited Away is your movie, Kiki's Delivery Service is my movie, but if Spirited Away is your movie, this is going to be your book because it matches all of those vibes perfectly. It follows Kei and Hana, and Hana works in the pawn shop in, the other realm, and she basically, her and her family, their duty is to collect choices. So you don't pawn trinkets, you pawn a choice, a regret almost, that you no longer want to live with. And it's just really beautiful how the whole story unfolds. It's not linear, but the way the author writes it, she doesn't throw in the unlinear elements midway through chapter. You read a chapter, and then sometimes they'll leave off on like a jaw-dropping moment, and then the next chapter will be 2 weeks earlier, or 2 years earlier. And then it explains that jaw-dropping moments. And then once you're reading that, your jaws drop. You're like, oh, because they have the realization. You're seeing the realization. And then the story is continuing. So the momentum is there. That momentum, that pacing, it's kept up throughout the entire narrative. But also, there's so many different forms of travel. Jumping into puddles, getting folded into origami. Riding a river, riding a boat on a river of a happy memory, floating on paper cranes on clouds. The number of ways of transportation is just magical. It's magical, and it's just beautiful to see it unfold, and you get to really know Hana and Kei as characters, and there's some you understand their past, you understand where they're coming from, you understand how they've evolved until they get to that ending, and how they get to those plot twists. And those plot twists, every single one, I was like, what? Just my mind was blown, absolutely blown. But it fit and it worked so well. I mean, I really, really love the atmosphere of the story. And I like how it deals with this concept of choice and regret. Like your choices, you can be haunted by some of your choices. And I love the way that these choices kind of take the form of pocket change or a bottle of sake. And in their realm, there are these beautiful birds that glow. They're so full of life and vitality. And it's very ironic throughout the entire story how Hana, she has no choice in her life. She has no choice. She has to be the next pawn shop owner. She has to be the next person to calm people and collect their choices and help them, or kind of coerce them, that's a better word, to release their choices and give them up to her, give up the regret to her. So for someone who doesn't really have a whole lot of choice, whenever it comes to Kei making a choice, she denies him the choice. Granted, we understand why. He's making a lot of choices like in the moment because this relationship forms between these two characters. I mean, they fall in love. It's very slow how they fall in love, but it's very beautiful and very magical at the same time. So you're seeing how they fall in love, and you're understanding how they fall in love, and there's a protectiveness that each character feels for the other, and it's beautiful. I know I'm going to say that word a lot because it is beautiful. It really does remind me of a Studio Ghibli movie. And I think I'm going to try to manifest this. This book should be a beautiful, beautiful Studio Ghibli movie. I'm going to try to manifest that. if you read it, you'll understand. And I can't remember the name. So Kiki's Delivery Service, that's my favorite. It's my daughter's favorite too. She's in love with it. She'll watch that movie 1,000. She's only 3, but she will watch that movie on repeat. Once the movie ends, she's like, I'm like, what do you want to watch now? She's like, Gigi! And I'm like, you want to watch Kiki's Delivery Service again? And again, I love that. I own the Fairly exclusive version and the Barnes & Noble exclusive version of the book. So, you know, I can't remember the name of that. The creature from Spirited Away, you know, I want to say it's like the faceless one, but it's not. The being with the white mask. When I was reading the Shuri Khan, that's just what I kept imagining and picturing. I'm like, that's what it is. That's the inspiration. That's what we're gonna go with, because the way it's described, it's like a menacing version of that, and I think that that's great, and it's beautiful, and it's, again, see that word again, but it's just such a moving story, and it's very effortless, it's very smooth, it's very cozy, you know? I could sit and read this book for hours, and the whole world would just kind of disappear. And I did at sometimes. I'm just like so sucked into the book with the atmosphere and that storytelling and the narrative and the magical forms of transportation, from origami to jumping in puddles. Now I kind of want to feel like jumping in puddles, you know, not just for fun, but to see if I can be transported into another realm. And, but that would be, you know, quite dangerous. To see the different ways that choice and dreams and wishes just come to life in this other world. It really was just hauntingly beautiful, you know? I was just awestruck. I was awestruck when I was reading it, and there's so much beauty in the book, in just the tone and the atmosphere and that character dynamics. For me, it was truly moving, and it was very thoughtful, you know? I think the author did a really great job with creating this very thoughtful narrative and moving the story in a way that isn't exactly linear. You know, there are flashback chapters, there are chapters to explain something in the past that really ties into the event that just preceded it, but it works, you know, that momentum, that fluidity, it doesn't break up. I was just lost in the story. The world didn't exist when I was reading this book, and I love when a book leaves me feeling like that, you know, moved. God, it's truly a beautiful book, and I really think everyone should read it. So, you know, there we go. That's my take on it. From the tone to the pacing to the characterization, it was 5 stars across all of that. You know, atmosphere building, world building, that fantasy, this idea of choice, ramifications of choice. You know, it's a lot, and it builds to a very thoughtful narrative and a very thoughtful way of storytelling. So, yeah, highly recommend, highly recommend. In any case, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.